Hello and welcome to SciFi MineCart, the show in which we dig up sci-fi shows that no longer get, or have never gotten the attention they deserve, and attempt to bring them back into the light. This episode... Before the absolutely incredible Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC had a universe of their own. The DC Animated Universe. And it was incredible. And vast. The DC Animated Universe consists of 8 series, 4 films, 2 short films, 2 webcomics, and has spawned a huge amount of comics and video games. The sheer vastness of the DC Animated Universe was at the time, and still is, extreme. The movie that we're looking at in this episode of SciFi MineCart is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. Batman Beyond chronologically comes at the end of the DC Animated Universe, and, of course, Return of the Joker is the film for Batman Beyond. So, fair warning that this review not only contains spoilers for Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, but also because where it chronologically sits in the DC Animated Universe, it also contains spoilers of the other Batman-centered installments of the DC Animated Universe. So now that the spoiler alerts are out of the way, let's look at Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, or, as it's called in Australia and Europe, Batman of the Future: Return of the Joker, which sounds like some terrible B-grade movie from the 40s. In fact, let's hear that name again in the 40s newsreel voice. You've seen Batman of the past! You've seen Batman of the present! Now, brace yourselves, mere mortals, for Batman of the Future! As much as I hate the title Batman of the Future, it is apt in that it describes exactly what the series is. Batman Beyond is a cyberpunk futuristic look at Gotham. And Gotham in the future just looks incredible. The cyberpunk world they've created has this cool grungy feel to it. The city itself looks absolutely fantastic. The futuristic vehicles in the movie look like something the GDI would use. The new Batman has an absolutely kick-ass red and black colour scheme going on, and I do say new Batman because it is a different Batman. The Batman you're seeing here is Terry McGinnis, and Bruce Wayne has taken up sort of an Obi-Wan position in the show. And my god, the soundtrack. The music throughout this film is easily the best music in any of the DC Animated Universe, and if you've ever heard any of the music in the DC Animated Universe, you would know that is one hell of a claim. But perhaps I'm biased because I'm a huge fan of grungy rock and roll, and, well, the soundtrack is entirely grungy rock and roll, so that was always going to appeal to me. But on the other hand, this YouTube video is a movie review, and you can't do a review without an opinion, and you can't have an opinion without having bias. So, the soundtrack is kick-ass, and that's now fact because I've said it. Speaking of kick-ass, Return of the Joker does everything the rest of the DC Animated Universe does fantastically. The art style is breathtaking, and the voice acting is flawless. And if you're a fan of Batman the Animated Series, or if you're a fan of the recent Batman games that have been coming out, you'll be happy to hear that Kevin Conroy has reprised his role as Bruce Wayne, and Mark Hamill, the best Joker ever, returns in Return of the Joker as the Joker. So without going in to spoil the actual storyline of the film too much, it does have an interesting storyline. However, I wasn't a huge fan of the big reveal. But something I was a huge fan of is that the film also actually provides, in a sense, an ending to Batman the Animated Series through the way of flashback. This is really cool because, as I said, chronologically, this movie comes at the end of the rest of the DC Animated Universe. And well, despite how fantastic the Batman installments of the DC Animated Universe were, the Batman series never really had much of an ending because they were used to lead into the Superman series and the Justice League series, and eventually the Batman Beyond series. So it was really cool to see what happened between the end of the Batman animated series and the start of Batman Beyond. Throughout Batman Beyond, you see Bruce Wayne as a closed-off old man who really has become a hermit. So it was really awesome to see this movie address that and explain what happened to cause this. The movie itself is super dark. Like, really, really dark. In fact, I wouldn't suggest you let your kids watch this if they're maybe under the age of 13. There is 2 versions of the movie, the unrated version and the PG version. Strangely, the unrated version is the clean one, where they've taken out a lot of the violence and redone a lot of the things. I wouldn't suggest your kids watch this either though, because it's sort of crappy. So what I suggest is you show them the rest of the DC animated universe, which will take them until they're old enough to watch the good version of Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and then let them watch it, and they'll be thrilled because it is fantastic. But don't ruin the movie by showing them the crappy version. Something that I think all DC Animated Universe fans will appreciate about the series and the film is how much respect they show to the prior installments in it. Bruce Wayne is the tragic hero you would expect. He's old and decrepit, but he's never treated as just an old man, and he's never treated as just a shadow of his former self. Terry McGinnis, as the new Batman, is not a carbon copy of the old Batman. He's got his own problems, and he's got his own reasons to be Batman, and these are a major point in the film and the series. The film has Bat-Dog in it, which is just incredible, and they somehow don't even make it silly. And just like the new Batman, the new villains are also refreshingly original. It is overall a fantastic movie with fantastic animation and art style, incredible soundtrack, and perfect voice acting. But who do I suggest watch this film? Well, if you're a Batman fan because you've gotten dragged into the superhero genre, what with all the recent live-action success, and haven't seen or don't intend to see any of the rest of the DC animated universe, you can enjoy this movie because it is, in a sense, self-contained. The flashbacks explain the emotional turmoil going on, and so it can stand on its own 2 feet. If you do plan to revisit the animated universe, you should at least watch Batman the Animated Series before you watch this movie, simply because it is chronologically at the end of the entire DC animated universe. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're a fan of Batman, cyberpunk, or great animation, then this is a film you should definitely check out. Thanks for watching. I have been and still am Grim.